Hi, I'm Thomas, aka MrWartburg, and this is the, 30th episode of the MrWartburg Show. Way different setup this time, because the original episode that I had lined up for you guys this past Sunday, apparently the schedule didn't work, and then I also found out that the file was corrupted, so I ended up having to just, put the kibosh on the whole thing to reshoot the video down here in Austin. Didn't get around to reshooting it before I left for vacation. I had a lot of stuff going on, obviously with Chris coming to town, things like that, so, didn't work out, but hey, down in Austin, gonna shoot a really quick video for this week's episode, and then we'll get another episode on Sunday, which will be live streamed on twitch.tv/MrWartburg. I'll do that with Chris, Jaron, and Jerron, and that'll be a PS1, probably Crash Bash, 4-person stream, and that should be a lot of fun, and we'll talk, about RTX and things of that nature, and it'll be pretty awesome, for everyone. So for the week of whenever last week was, I can't even think of days. It's end of day one. It's like 11 o'clock when I'm shooting this. Really tired. But for, last week specifically, it was a lot of entertainment that was on the docket for the, what we're going to talk about. Specifically, the 25th of June was the series finale of one of my all-time favorite TV shows, Person of Interest. Was the 5th season finale, so the series finale for the truncated 13-episode 5th season. Really wrapped up well, and I think is probably one of the better series finales I've ever actually seen done, at least in recent memory. There have been some other, top-notch ones. Like, for me, the Chuck finale was just perfect, the way, it seamlessly kind of brought in all the other stuff going on in the various plot threads, and the shot-for-shot, basically remake of the pilot for the finale. It's fantastic. But speaking of Person of Interest, the acting all the way around. Michael Emerson needs to get his second either an Oscar or Emmy or whatever the award is for TV. I know he got one for Lost, I think, and he should get a second one here, either for that bone-chilling speech from like 3 episodes prior in the jail, when he's like, now I need to know how far I need to go. Like that, God, that speech was awesome. And his acting here in the finale, particularly his first goodbye to John, and then the actual goodbye, and vice versa. Jim Caviezel was awesome in John Reese's final moments. His last stand was suitably heroic to the character. Amy Acker got to come back as Root/Machine, and that was a really great send-off for that character, to see her again visually, now as the Machine's actual, this is how she sees herself. And Root got a really great thing with Jeff Blackwell, the character that ended up being directly responsible for Root's death. And instead of going the redemptive arc, going like, no, you did something really dumb, so I'm going to fucking kill you. And doing that. And Fusco, Fusco got a really great goodbye to John there at the, near execution, about halfway or maybe a third of the way through the episode. That really kind of summed up how he's grown in the 5 seasons of the show, which has been a really, stark turnaround from where he was in the pilot, which I just watched the night before the finale. Very stark turnaround with that character, and they handled it very well over the 5 seasons, finally bringing him in full into the fold here in the 5th, and, all the way around, is particularly how it wrapped up with, the Machine, not being able to afford to lose, and, winning and everything, and in the end, and setting it up that, hey, the Machine's still around, numbers are still going to keep coming at the end, this story wrapped up, but the larger story still out there. That was very... very on point, and I was a big fan of the finale. Another thing in entertainment, to kind of keep this on a positive sandwich, Independence Day Resurgence, went and saw that on a Saturday. Oh, God, I'm glad I paid matinee pricing for that, because, whew, that was a rough one. Don't get me wrong, had some good, sci-fi ideas with the whole, yes, they're coming back. Makes sense for a sequel that, yeah, these aliens that have this this civilization that can, move planet to planet, they probably don't have just one ship. That makes a lot of sense. And the integration of the technology, that was really cool. Visually, very, very well done. And then, in terms of how the technology integrated into ours, you can see that from where we were in the 90s, getting to with their technology, where they are in this movie. That, came together really well. This idea of a third race that had previously been at war with, the aliens, who, we never hear their name of, which is, I like that. That was another cool idea. Unfortunately, it's wrapped in a basically action movie, meant to happen over 12 hours package, which is stupid as shit. It's supposed to start on the 4th, and how the fuck does Jeff Goldblum's dad, whatever his name is, his character, get from the East Coast all the way to Area 51 in freaking Nevada in one day? And going 40 miles an hour at one point, where they show it explicitly he's going that slow. How does that happen? What? The first movie worked so well because it went slow. It went over 3 days. You see the devastation. You see the fallout. You see people like just losing it, like that, holy shit, our world is coming to an end. And as cheesy as it was, it took itself seriously and it let it play out, in a real human sense of all that death and tragedy. Whereas this one, it just played it for fun and like, oh hey, this massive alien spaceship just landed. Oh, here's a butt joke. Like really, come on. Even in this movie, like a specific movie that kind of took some cues, I think, from Independence Day in terms of pacing with Pacific Rim, and that movie, apocalypse, end of the world scenario, still has its more human, moments of its building, the slowdown, its building tension. Like it's not action all the freaking time once shit starts. There's some, give and take in the really fast human moments. Independence Day doesn't have any of that, and it really suffers for it. So yeah, not a great movie. Moving on, not wanting to give that one too much time, definitely got to hit on the sheer awesomeness that was the Season 6 finale of Game of Thrones. Oh my god, that was so good. Oh god, I rewatched it as soon as it ended. I was like, fuck yes, fist pumping, awesome. And it's been a while since Game of Thrones. I don't think it's ever done where 2 back-to-back episodes I'm going, fuck yes, at the screen. And in I'm rooting for people now, like back-to-back episodes where shit didn't go down for people I liked. Which makes me kind of worried about the Season 7 premiere, but let us have it, because holy shit, that opening, that took up a lot of time, right? With the Cersei stuff, and even though they had obviously set up the wildfire stuff, like the Qyburn, the little rumor, and Bran's flashbacks, and Tyrion's talking about to Daenerys about the Bad King's plan for King's Landing, still did it perfect. Like, saw it coming a mile away. It was still fucking awesome. That score from Ramin, whatever his name is, who also did the Person of Interest score as well, which was phenomenal, and the Pacific Rim too. So hey, 3 of his stuff in one video. Awesome composer. But that even though the breadcrumbs were very, exactly where they're going, they still made it awesome. It was fantastic, especially her at the end sitting on the throne. Now my pick for that, I think Jaime's going to be the one to kill her, because the Mad King threatened to do it, said he was going to do it, stabbed him in the back. She did it and just killed, like, a boatload of people. Like, a lot. And pissed off some very, very powerful allies, especially in the Tyrells. And, him and his, quasi-redemption arc, you gotta wonder where he's gonna fall now, because he was so dedicated to getting back to her, but now she's not the person he remembers her being. Her kids are gone, and as Tyrion said a few seasons ago, the only thing keeping her human was her kids. And how, Greek tragedy was it that where as soon as it happens, son kills himself for Cersei. I mean, that's just her life. And I think she's accepted and moved on and is now a better, I think a more fully formed villain for it. And I think we now have a definite villain, which is good, because they're definitely going to need it going into the 7th season before we get to the 8th season in the final war with the White Walkers, because that's definitely going to end. I think 7's going to end with the wall crumbling down and the army streaming across, and then the world having to recover and battle that back. That's going to be the next 2 are going to be shorter seasons. But that's enough of that part. How about that shit that happened in the north? I mean, first off, Lady Mormont, I don't think she has any fucks to give about what anyone thinks, and it is fantastic. And then lastly, the King in the North, bitches. Oh my god, I got goosebumps during that scene. More so even than the first one in season 2. Oh man, was that good. Wow. I just stood up and go, Jon Snow, fuck yes. Let's go save the damn world. Oh, it was so good. And I really am really pumped to see where they go with his character. Is he going to end up is he actually the prince that was promised? That whole prophecy. Really excited to see how they handle his relationship to Daenerys, because they're eventually going to meet. They have to at some point. And it's going to be pretty awesome to see where they go, because we do get, the confirmation that he is a Stark, just not Ned's kid. He's Lyanna's kid. And more than 95% of the way, sure, it's Rhaegar Targaryen, is his father. So he definitely has a strong claim to the throne. So, and on an army at his backing, and he's been a proven commander, and he's unified the North. So he's definitely got the claim. So we'll see where those chips fall. But what do you think of those 3 things I've talked about? Any one specifically, or all 3 of them? If you have watched them all like myself, let me know in the comments below. And as I said, stay up to date to this channel and my Twitter at MrWartburg and twitch.tv/MrWartburg to stay up to date with all the RTX shenanigans going on this weekend and in the coming days to follow the end of RTX. See ya.